and welcome to the Just Face It podcast. Today is October 26, 2019, and today we have a very special guest. Unfortunately, my fellow co-host, the Psychoscrast, is going to be absent today, but he will be back again next week. You may have noticed we are on a new schedule for the live premiere of these episodes. We will be Saturdays, 4 p.m. Pacific from now on, rather than our previous Sunday schedule. Moving on, today filling in for the Psychoscrast, I've got a gaming friend of mine, Brian, who's going to be filling in. And our guest this week, we have Handikillcam from over on Twitch.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Doing all right. Feels a little awkward now that I used, my name instead of my Steam name, but whatever.
Just put them on blast.
I gave you the option.
I know you did.
So Handikillcam, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? How long have you been streaming? How long have you been streaming?
I've been streaming for about 3 years, but I normally tell people 2 years because the first year, I didn't really take it seriously. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I didn't realize that the opportunity of what could be until I started taking it serious. Because, normally when you start streaming, you're just like, oh, whatever, I'm going to just do what I want, stream whenever I want to, and just whatever, say what I want to. But after the first year, I was like, oh, wow, I can actually do something. So I've been streaming about 3 years. I stream variety of games, mostly first-person shooters. I stream with a disability. I have cerebral palsy. Was born that way. I'm a more positive streamer. I try to keep everything on a chill level than some other streamers. And I stream I stream about 5 days a week, about 4 hours of stream, 4 to 5 hours of stream, pretty much.
Right on. So did you get started on Twitch originally, or did you jump around a bit?
I started on Twitch I started on Twitch, pretty much stayed with Twitch. And I dabbed a little bit over on Mixer when Mixer first started. But then I just stuck over with Twitch until the time being, just because of at the time, Twitch was more, I would say, accessible, I guess would say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've just pretty much stuck with Twitch.
Right on. What so far? Do you have a favorite experience that you've had while streaming, or is there just kind of like a something in general that gets you really excited about streaming?
Well, I mean, really, my main thing that keeps me motivated, it's I'm doing things that are just bigger than just me streaming. I'm actually working with the Able Gamers charity, which is the Able Gamers Foundation, which is this is a charity that helps people with disabilities get special equipment that they need. Basically, what they'll do is if there's somebody that's has a missing arm or any kind of disability, and they're not able to get the controller that they need, or if there's a special controller that needs to be made, Able Gamer, you can fill out a form, it's like a grant form, and if they choose you, they will look at your needs, they will fly you out, and they will see what kind of needs you need and what kind of controller will specify for you, and they will literally build that controller for you. They are partnered with some controller companies, and then they have some people that manufacture themselves, and they will literally build that controller for you or build that contraption for you, and they'll do it free of charge, and they will give it to you, which is really freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. They're definitely one of the cooler charities.
Just to give a little insight, they actually helped. They're actually one of the main helpers with Xbox to help make the Xbox adaptive controller that is now out. That big white square controller.
Yeah.
They help
Have you had a chance to use that?
Yeah, actually, I have one. One was sent to me when I helped with the Cerebral Palsy Foundation. They sent me one,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, I have not been able to use it because there's a downside to the controller. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with any of the adaptive
Yeah.
equipment. You have to have your own adaptive equipment already. So if you don't have any adaptive equipment to hook up to it, it's just a white chocolate bar. Pretty much. It's pretty much what it is.
It
But
is.
it's cool
I
though.
Yeah, I think it's kind of spendy right now, those adaptive controllers, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think stuff like that will become cheaper over time once they learn how to manufacture it cheaper
Right.
and all that. But I think it's an awesome step forward. Hadn't seen any controller like that before.
Right.
So I think it's cool. I've been wanting to play with one, but I haven't had a chance because they
Yeah.
are spendy.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
they run?
It's 150, I believe, for the base, and then they have this whole assortment of different attachments,
Mhm.
basically, depending on what your needs are, that you plug into it,
Okay.
and those all cost money as well.
Yeah, that adds up really quick.
That's why if you really need something like that, you go hit up Able Gamers, and Able Gamers will help you out. And if anything, they'll just build you a controller straight up where you don't even need that where you don't even need the actual controller, the white controller, the white chocolate bar controller as I call it. So
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I was really happy and sad at the same time when Microsoft announced that because there was a friend of mine growing up. Brian knew him as well. He had a spinal muscular atrophy, and used to go all the time over to play games at his house. It was one of the few things he could do was that and watch TV. So that's what we did. Went over and played with him. But it got to a certain point where he couldn't. We'd play a lot of racing games because he could. That way he could only use the joysticks because he couldn't
Mhm.
press any of the buttons.
Mhm.
But then it even got to the point where he couldn't do that anymore. I was just thinking when that came out, I was like, man, I wish he had a chance
Yeah.
to use one of those adaptive controllers. That would have been
That would have
that would have been great. Yeah, he's passed away now, but I wish he had a chance for that.
Yeah.
But I don't
It's
know. Those are
awesome.
cool.
It's awesome that the technology that they've come out with. There's even
Yeah.
a controller right now that I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called a quad stick, and you literally use this stick. You literally use the whole controller by sucking and blowing, and it can do
Oh,
like
that's
over.
cool.
You can literally do like over 200 some commands.
I have seen
Yeah.
that. I've seen
Yeah.
that once before. Like
It's
watching them play with it is just absolutely incredible. Like the things that they can do, you would never guess. Like you would just think they were, a famous Twitch streamer or a famous player who was really, really good with the mouse and keyboard.
Yep. It's
crazy.
amazing to watch him play first person shooters with it too. Whew, I'll be like, oh my Jesus, man. I'm like, man, that's crazy.
I know. I see some stuff like that, and it blows my mind. I'm like, I can't even. They would just beat me up every time. There's just no way. Anyways, I lost my train of thought now.
No, that's all right. It's the beauty of podcasting.
It is. Okay, well, I think we'll just jump straight into some of our new stuff that's been going on this week. So our first bit of big news this week was there was a leak that came out. Let me pull it up. Diablo 4 has apparently been leaked by an advertisement for an art book. A full-page advertisement came up on the latest issue of GameStar magazine, and it's advertising for an upcoming Art of Diablo book, which games do this a lot. They say this is all the artwork that's ever been created while we're in the process of making this game. But apparently there's parts of it that have been, or it's including artwork from a Diablo 4, which has not come out yet. This art book hasn't necessarily come out yet, so there's no no way to actually say or like to confirm it. But this happens all the time. This happens all the time with stuff like this. And we got BlizzCon going on right now, where they generally like to make a lot of big announcements. So I don't know. Have you guys ever gotten into the Diablo game series much?
I mean, to be fair, I played Diablo 2. I wasn't really much of a fan of the game, but I do know, from, doing a lot of research that it's probably a good thing it got leaked because a lot of the people were mad that Diablo 4 wasn't coming out anytime soon. And I know a lot of people were mad when they announced instead of doing Diablo 4 that they were going to be making a mobile game, and people were like, "Wait,
Yep.
you're releasing a mobile game, you're not releasing Diablo 4." So even though it's quote unquote a leak, I almost think it was like on purpose to save face because a lot of people were upset thinking that Diablo 4 wasn't going to be released anytime soon. In fact, I said they should have done this. They should have released Diablo 4 first and then released the mobile game and then made the mobile game compatible with Diablo 4. But it is what it is. People are going to do what they're going to do. But I almost feel like it was on purpose so people wouldn't be so upset because a lot of people have been harping on BlizzCon for not releasing Diablo 4 at all, anytime
And it
soon.
totally could be on purpose. I mean, it's not the first time companies have done that either. Saying,
Right.
"Oh no, someone leaked
Someone leaked it.
our upcoming game that people have been wanting and have been mad at us for otherwise."
Don't be mad at us no more.
Whoops.
Well, not to mention, like, Blizzard fans are usually pretty passionate in the games that they have, and like, obviously they're going to want a Diablo 4 over a mobile game. I'm not sure what the decision to go with the mobile game was for, but yeah, I would lean. When I first read it, my first thought was they did that on purpose just to kind of get that idea out there, like, hey, we haven't forgotten about it, and it's still a work in progress. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Are you all into? Are you into Diablo? Are any of y'all in Diablo?
No, I don't have really any experience with Diablo.
Yeah.
I played a lot.
Want to?
You played a lot?
I did play a lot of Diablo 3 on it was the 360 it came out originally. I played a lot of it then, and that was before they even kind of like revamped it and reworked it. And I played 1 and 2 a lot when I was younger. I don't know if you know anything about it, Brian. Diablo 3 is basically think put in reference to something top-down Destiny.
Yeah, pretty.
that looter aspect to it, kind of
with seasons in it. Well, at least Diablo 3 had seasons.
Yeah.
In it.
So they're great games. I like, even when they came out and said, "Hey, we're doing Diablo Immortal. It's gonna be a mobile game." I didn't think I was bummed because I don't. Mobile games isn't my thing, but I didn't doubt for a second that Diablo 4 wasn't in the works.
Right.
Yeah,
they take years on these games, and Blizzard is known for. They've always got like a couple dozen titles that they're working on at any given time, and it's like 99% of those are canceled.
Right, that's true.
But franchises that work, they spend a lot of time on them. I mean, how long did we wait on StarCraft 2 to come out? Sure. They take their time.
Yeah,
true.
And when they come out, they're usually pretty well polished as far as optimization is concerned. So it's not like you're playing a game with a bunch of bugs.
Right, they're not broken.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think this is for sure a purposeful league, especially with all the controversy that they've kind of dealt with recently.
Yeah.
With the Hearthstone champion and China and all that. I think they were looking for a way to get some fans back on board, which is not the worst thing. We want to hear more about Diablo 4, so I don't blame them for it.
Definitely. For the crowd.
Yeah. It's not pulling up. There we go. Our next bit of news has to do with Bethesda, has to do with Fallout 76. For those of you who are not really familiar with Fallout 76, it came out. Shoot, it's been over a year ago now.
Has it been that long already?
It has.
Oh my god.
Fallout 76 came out. It was it flopped fairly hard. I'll say, and I'm trying to say that as nice as I can, honestly. It really, really struggled. It was missing tons of things that people wanted. It's been missing NPCs in the game, which has been a big thing that has made a lot of fans of the series very mad, because they are role-playing games, and role-playing games are really empty if there's no NPC. That's like 99% of your interaction.
Right.
So they've been missing those. They postponed. They were supposed to be coming out with this huge NPC update that'd be bringing a bunch of NPCs back into the game. They postponed it, and then they came out with this, which Fallout 76 fans have been clamoring for private servers to come on out. So after they postponed the NPC update, Bethesda came out and said, "Hey, we're bringing you private servers. They're going to be costing $100 a year."
Jeez.
Which made a lot of people mad, because they feel like it's something that should have been included in the game anyways, especially since this game has just been plagued with nothing but issues. The collector's edition, the bags that they got from them look nothing like the photos that were advertised, and those took them 9 months before they even got their collector's items.
Right. They had to issue an apology and then do all that stuff.
Which those collector's editions weren't cheap.
No.
A couple $100.
Right.
And then the game was missing just a whole slew of features and has been really struggling. Then they came out with the Battle Royale mode on it.
Desperate Reach. Oh my god.
Yeah, which that's never a good sign for a game or a studio for the most part, unless they're already on top. Perfect example of that. Fortnite was failing before they came out with their Battle Royale. I had bought it. I liked it. Nobody played it. And Epic was really struggling because of that. And then they came out with their Battle Royale and they shot straight up. And every other company has been trying to do the same thing since. But a lot of people are really mad at this, not only because of the cost, but since it's come out, it's very bugged. Apparently items you put in your stash, they end up getting scrapped. There's a whole slew of issues going on with this thing that people are paying $100 a year for. I don't know what do you guys think? What does Bethesda need to do to fix this? I know that's a big question to ask, but
they need to hire the people over at BlizzCon. That's what they need to do. They need to hire over the people at Blizzard. Go ahead. Sorry, I apologize.
No worries. I think it's crazy though that they're going to charge a subscription for a game that's already has so many problems.
That's already struggling.
Subscriptions have kind of gone out the window. Like no game uses subscriptions anymore except World of Warcraft, essentially. But that game is polished. Like everything in that game generally works as it should, and if it doesn't, it's fixed right away. You're asking them to pay money on a monthly basis. $100 is not a ton, but it's enough. Like there shouldn't be that many problems with the game.
But this is also one of those games that like it struggled so hard on launch that it dropped like immediately from its $60 price tag to like $25, like within 2 months.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, it's very bad.
I feel like they're just using the subscription to help to make their bottom line, because they're like
Bethesda has been struggling.
You know what I mean? And was not a good way of doing so to get their money up. Unfortunately, like they're trying to rush, and unfortunately they're not polishing anything. And it's sad because you have all these other games that offer private servers, and they offer them for free. I mean, we were talking about Fortnite earlier. You could play Fortnite on a private server and you don't have to play nothing or pay anything. You could pay all these BRs that are probably, I mean, again, granted, they're not as big as quote unquote Fallout 76, but you have all these other games that have private servers and you don't have to pay nothing, but yet, oh, Bethesda, oh, please pay us $100 a year so you can have a private server that doesn't work, but thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I think it came down to years ago. They were sitting around the office thinking, "Hey, what can we do next to try and make some money?" People love Fallout. Let's let them play Fallout multiplayer.
Mhm.
And then they did that, but they didn't really like actually know what they wanted to do with the game. You know, it's like, okay, you got PvP in it. The PvP is not great.
Right.
You got crafting in it. Crafting is not great. There's no NPCs. There's a story in it. Story is not great. Like they have, there's battle royale. Battle royale is not great. They've got like all these. It's like a little bit of everything, but they're not good at. It's not, the game isn't good at any one thing.
Right.
It's mediocre across the board.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not structured. They have all these ideas, but they're not structured and they're not properly executed, you know? And that's why when I had the game, I luckily I was fortunate to get it for free. I didn't have to pay it. Someone wanted me to try it, but after I saw this, I was like, no, I appreciate you, but I'm not playing this game because I'm just gonna get frustrated because it's just broken. You know what I mean? There's nothing to do, you know. So I have not played it, but I've kept close eye on it. In fact, it dropped so low and they were so desperate for people to buy the game. I think I saw an ad where if you bought Fallout 76, you got a free microphone that came with it. And I believe it was like a Blue Yeti microphone.
Which those aren't cheap.
No,
Those are
aren't
worth
cheap.
way more than the game.
Right. So if you buy your Blue Yeti, you get Fallout 76 for free. Yeah. They're desperately reaching.
It's
sad.
I don't know, and it makes me really, really sad because Fallout has been one of my, like, I'm an old school Fallout player. Like when I think of Fallout, I'm thinking 1 and 2,
right,
New Vegas. I'm thinking more the Obsidian Entertainment era. Those people.
Yeah,
you're right. And I've been very, very sad. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I've been very, very sad since Bethesda took it over. Fallout 3, I mean, it was great. Like, it was cool taking a top-down isometric game and putting it in as a 3D first-person shooter. Cool jump. It totally changed a lot of things in it, and it's really fun to play it that way. But it's always been missing a lot of the core concepts that have made Fallout games what they are. Fallout games, you can do anything you want, right? You can be whoever you want, and there's a lot of black comedy in it. 3 and 4, they missed the mark, I think, on a lot of that. It doesn't have a lot of that comedy to it, and it's just, I don't know, it makes me sad. Even if it was like a Fallout 4, where the story and the comedy were not great, but the shooting mechanics, the actual gameplay, that was really, really good in Fallout 4. And if you could just take that and put it into a multiplayer experience, that would have been great. But they never, I don't feel like they ever actually came to that.
I just feel like there's no real game testers anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's really giving their opinion. Everybody's just like, nobody's being real with these people that are game testing the game, and everybody's just like, oh, just worrying about getting their paychecks. You know? Oh, I'm just gonna say, oh man, this is amazing. Where's my paycheck? Oh man, this is great. Where's my paycheck? Knowing that you're about to release some crap. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just sad.
As a sort of public service announcement to everyone out there who are, I want to say, Fallout fans, go play Outer Worlds. Is what I want to say. It's from Obsidian Entertainment. It's Fallout in space, like real original Fallout kind of feel to it. It's fantastic.
I'm going to have to check it out, actually.
And it's on Game Pass. It's amazing. Yes. I love it. It feels like you're playing Fallout New Vegas, nice. Just with better shooting.
Nice. And NPCs.
And yes, NPCs, all about those NPCs. And then we've kind of got another sort of like PSA for everyone. We won't a little bit of news. We won't dwell on it for too long, but a couple games have been delayed without like hardcore release dates on them. Watch Dogs Legions has been pushed back, as well as the new Rainbow Six Quarantine, which was born out of Rainbow Six Siege. Those have been delayed, as well as The Last of Us Part 2. It's not bad news. Don't take it that way.
No.
Yeah. Me personally, I've always been of the attitude, take as long as you need to make a game. Like, yes, I want it here and now, but I'd rather you take the time to make it a good game.
Right. But make sure it's a good game.
Yeah.
If you make us wait and it comes out and it's not a good game, it's going to be even worse.
So there's always kind of like I've found there's always kind of like a fine line in watching delays on a on a game. Delayed once, that's fine. Delayed 2 times, it's okay. When you start getting into the 3 or more delays, that's when you start to get a little bit nervous and you start to what's going on.
Let me ask you a question then. Final Fantasy VII Remake, too long?
Oh, what, 20 years?
Yeah. 20 years.
How long has it been?
It's too long, but
Yeah,
it's finally coming out.
Too long. And it's a probably good thing my co-host Psycho Crass isn't here right now. I'm sure he's a hardcore Final Fantasy fan. I'm sure he'd go on a long rant about that. Yeah. I don't know, but you can kind of like start to tell. This is the first time these games have been delayed. I think Last of Us might have been delayed once, but still, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's when they like really start pushing it out. We're delaying it for another year, and this is the 5th time we've delayed it, that you start to wonder
about core development problems that are probably getting pretty hard.
Yeah.
I'm
actually interested into the new Watch Dogs. I wasn't really interested in the series, but just the way that you can be like multiple characters, like I think that's pretty cool. I don't know how much the replay value would be, but just for a little bit, I think I would have fun doing that.
I think there'd be a lot of replay value on it, because they were very adamant that you can recruit and play as anyone. Every NPC in this world has a backstory, has strengths and weaknesses, and if you can convince them to join your side, you can play as them. Yeah. So I think just out of that, considering how many NPCs there usually are in Watchdog worlds and GTA games, there's a lot of replayability in just that. I'm excited. I think everybody got really excited when they saw that old granny in the water, breaking into the police headquarters and beating the crap out of everyone.
Yes.
That I want to do that.
Yes. I can see a lot of, coming from a streamer standpoint, I see a lot of streaming entertainment that can come from that. It's gonna be fun.
I think the vibe is going to be very similar to kind of like a GTA role playing kind of stuff going on. Even though it's not quite the same, I think that kind of atmosphere will be similar with that.
It'd be really cool. Yeah, definitely.
And then, another PSA. This is for our Discord users. There is a Discord bot that has been going around as malware called Spidey Bot that is stealing usernames, passwords, credit card info. If you've got, if you're a Nitro member and got those on file there, they're stealing everybody's personal information. So if you are in a server, it might be good to go and check through all the servers you're in. If you see something called Spidey Bot in it, you may want to talk to the owner of the server or just leave if you don't want your information stolen. A lot of people, I've been watching it on Twitter. A lot of people have been getting really mad at Discord. They're like, why aren't you keeping us safe? Like, you need to keep our personal information more protected than this. This isn't Discord, guys. This is the owner of that server went and downloaded a third-party program, which is what bots are. Discord doesn't make these bots. Random people on the internet do. And then they brought that in. So it's just another reason why you need to really know what you're installing. Yeah.
Right. Do your research. But to be fair, I got a confession. I'm a Discord partner, and I didn't even know that was going on. This is the first I've heard of it. So
yeah, they definitely should make a formal announcement.
Yeah.
Well, they have on their Twitter, and I believe they have on their website as well. But
I must not have been paying attention, I guess.
But yeah, it's the same old story of like, just don't click on things that you're not aware of, or you don't know what you're clicking onto, because there's a good chance it could be something that's going to harm your device or get a hold of personal or sensitive information.
I feel like we're talking to the same people that click the Facebook messages that they don't realize. They're like, oh, is it you? Wait, is it me? And you haven't seen you never got a message from this person in your life, and this person messages you, and you're, oh, let me click on it. Like, really? Whenever I get those messages, I just don't. Nope.
Yep.
No. Trust me. If you wire $500 to that prince over in Nigeria, he will pay you back.
Let me tell you what.
Guarantee you.
With interest.
With interest, yeah.
That's why we're all rich. That's why we're all rich right now.
Oh man. Yeah, so check around on the servers, all you listeners. Check around on any Discord servers you're on. If there's a Spidey bot on there, talk to the server owner or leave the server if you don't want your information stolen. Yeah, just something to keep an eye out on. Our next bit of news was, it kind of made me laugh, which is why I'm bringing it up mostly. A Blizzard has forced a World of Warcraft guild to change their name. It's been several times they've been forced to change their name. They were going by the name Make Azeroth Great Again. Somebody reported them as it being an offensive title.
Oh my God.
The guild leader went through it after they were forced to change their names, went through the QA process and got it reverted back, disputed it, said this isn't an offensive name, it's a tongue-in-cheek name. And they said, okay, that's fine. Shortly after, it gets reported again and auto ban, changed, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so apparently this has been going on multiple times. Nobody except that guild, I guess, wants to make Azeroth great again. I don't know. Nobody else likes the name, I guess.
That's crazy, man.
It's a little over the top.
Still, Blizzard, you're already dealing with drama already. Why even don't just?
I wonder if it's because if the Blizzard keeps changing the name because they're more upset that it's has any sort of like political tongue-in-cheek to the name, or if they're more upset that it's a jab at them and Azeroth.
Yeah,
that's my question.
I mean, either way though, like, it technically has been shown, or it's been stated that it wasn't necessarily against their terms of use. So the fact that it keeps getting changed
means they need to work on their review process, because it almost sounds like there's a bot like that's auto deciding, or like deciding these things on its own, whether it's offensive or not, and it's taking care of it, because they keep getting it reverted back after they actually talk to a person one-on-one. So I don't know, maybe Blizzard needs to change their review process with that.
I know they've had issues before in the past with World of Warcraft, and like people saying things in chat that aren't really necessarily, like, they're not offensive in any way. Maybe they're just kind of like borderline spam type things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched videos of streamers and people who will put out like World of Warcraft is great, all caps, out in general chat so that everybody can see it. And then they immediately get hit with like a ban, not allowed to be in the chat for, X amount of time. So it's just like the fact that it gets reported, they ban you first and then go back and review it versus actually looking at the situation.
Yeah, that's why it makes me think it's automated. It's like when you're on Twitch, or Mixer has the same thing. like some of the bots that moderation bots you have, like some people have settings on, so all caps are instantly hidden, or if you drop a link in there, and it can be a good way to help ban it. But like I know I've stopped by a few like friends, and I'm talking to them about something. They're like, "Oh yeah, send me the link on it," and you drop the link in there, and they're like, "Oh, I got banned."
Yeah,
like they forgot they had it on. So yeah, it sounds like an automated process.
It sounds like they got YouTube's algorithm over there.
Well, and I think it's coming from other people in the game that are, reporting their name to Blizzard. I don't necessarily think it's Blizzard that's like saying,
"Oh yeah,
stab at us," just because I think this guild's been around since August when the game was released. So
yeah.
Before some other political stuff has been happening in the news.
And were they dealing with this drama like right when they started, or is it just recently?
It doesn't actually state when this happened. I'm assuming it's relatively recent since the post was.
Yeah, because they're specifically a World of Warcraft classic.
Right.
And that hasn't been around that long. So
the timestamp on this article is the 23rd of this month, so 3 days ago.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So recently, Ubisoft had a sort of conference call among their leadership. It was a investors' earning call, which we always find out wonderful, wonderful things during these earning calls. And Ubisoft had admitted that Ghost Recon Breakpoint had been not a great step for them. It really struggled in sales for them. I feel like most people I've talked to have kind of didn't realize Breakpoint even came out, which is very, very different. Its prequel, or the one before that, Wildlands, did very well. It sold fairly well. It wasn't the hottest game out there, but it was. It made them a significant amount of money, a solid amount of money.
It was amazing.
Breakpoint has not. Ubisoft was pretty straight with their investors about this, surprisingly. And they said, yeah, it didn't do well, but we're planning on implementing some changes to try and bring the game to where it needs to be. And that's the one thing I will give Ubisoft, is they've done this a lot, where even if their game has not done well at launch, they're really good at turning things around on it. Rainbow Six Siege is absolutely the perfect example of that. It got mediocre reviews at launch. People said it was kind of an empty realization of a game. Like it wasn't quite there. The idea was there, but it wasn't quite implemented yet. And they've turned that game around, and now it's still, I think on Twitch it's still top 5, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually, and it's a successful esport too. So, I mean, it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, their esports have been shooting off for that. They make lots of money on it. They come out with new content all the time, and they're always tinkering and changing things. They've done this with other games. Division, they keep trying to turn things around on it, and add new content. It's been struggling, probably more than the others. But even Wildlands wasn't super great at launch. Then they came out and they added tons of content for it.
Was it For Honor? Was it Ubisoft also too?
Yeah. For Honor, that one really, really struggled, and it never really became incredibly popular. But it's got some pretty hardcore fans, and I still see some friends like booting up and launching into it. I tried playing it a couple of months ago just to see some of the changes, and I didn't struggle finding a match. Actually, matchmaking was a lot better than when it first launched. So it's still got a decent player base, and they've added tons of content for that game. So who knows?
I don't think, to be fair, I don't think this game was a bad game. I just think they did bad marketing.
Yeah.
I thought it was an amazing, like, the playability of the game was really, really interesting, and I would have loved it had I been more aware of when it was coming out. Because I got a chance to play the beta and everything else, and I was really impressed. I thought it was the pace of the game was really fun. The details were incredible, especially compared to some of the past games like Wildlands. Like, it was a huge step up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think it was just bad marketing, and that happens, I think, quite a bit with certain games.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
flew under the radar. I don't think it had a good release date on it. It was too close to a lot of other big games.
What was the
Wildlands came
date?
out in it was beginning of October, end of
Mhm.
September, somewhere in there. I don't remember the actual date, but it was around a lot of other stuff that was coming out. Whereas Wildlands it came out more towards the beginning of the year. I believe it was February release date.
And one of my biggest complaints, and it wasn't on Ghost Recon's end, it was on more of Call of Duty's end. If you actually look at the trailer of the Ghost Recon trailer, the first one where the guy's like in the swamplands and he's walking, and you look at the trailer of Call of Duty when Sergeant Price is talking and he's walking, they're almost identical.
Oh, really?
Almost identical. If you
Ah.
sit and watch, it's like it's kind of like identical. Like when I first saw the Call of Duty trailer, like when Sergeant Price was talking or whatever, I was like, wait, is this the Ghost Recon that is being released? And then I was like, oh wait, this is Call of Duty. So I just feel like, I don't know, somewhere missed the mark, but I put that more on Call of Duty than I do Ghost Recon, because Ghost Recon's trailer came out first, but I just think a lot of the player base got confused, because I got confused.
Yeah, I think it just kind of got stepped over. I think it's kind of got left behind, and a lot of people just didn't even realize it came out, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
Hopefully they'll turn things around though. They seem pretty determined to turn things around. I think they will. I've got faith in them.
I think they have a really good chance simply because it's a really well done game from what I've seen. And I feel like it's going to be a lot easier to bring potential players into that fold rather than trying to get them into a game that's, did bad because it was crap on release.
right.
Versus just not being aware.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in the long run, it might do better because it might get that hidden gem title. You know how we always have those games, like they didn't do well because we didn't know about it, but then later on they're like, "Oh, this is the hidden gem game," and because it's titled the hidden gem, everybody wants to play it. Everybody has to have it in their library, so it might do better in the long run because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I saved kind of our last big bit of news last. We're actually running a little bit longer than I meant to today. So I'm not going to dwell on this for crazy long, but it was kind of one of the bigger news stories this week. The streamer Shroud has left Twitch for Mixer as another contract deal. Mixer has been scooping up big streamers left and right lately, it seems like. But kind of one of the big points of this was Twitch has been hiding his channel from people trying to look it up, which kind of seems kind of like the jealous ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend kind of thing to do.
Now, if they hide his channel on Twitch, or if they didn't, and people are still watching it, does Twitch actually make money from this, or how does that work? Because I'm not familiar necessarily with the streaming platforms and like their code of conduct and policies.
The only way Twitch still makes money from Shroud is if people are still subscribed to Shroud on Twitch,
Okay.
which is very possible.
He had a lot of viewers, so I'm sure there's lots of people who just stayed subscribed permanently and just don't even think about it when it pulls the $5 out of or whatever.
Okay.
To be honest, that's what you want. that's what you kind of want as a Twitch streamer. You want people to just subscribe and then forget, because it's just how it happens. I subscribe to some people and I'm like, wait, why is this money coming out of my bank account? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm subscribed to this person. You know what I mean? But that's how it happens. So right now, unless people are donating to him, which they still can even though he's off stream. That's really the only way but that's how Twitch is still making their money, but he's still making money from it too. Unless Twitch is just like, well, you're not getting this money anymore, which I don't think they would do that, but who knows?
Yeah. So a big thing about this is he was one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, and then he leaves. He signs a contract, which Mixer pays them basically a salary. But them hiding it is not great. They're hiding his channel. Right after Twitch had done a huge promotional campaign saying, "Hey, come over to Twitch if you want to watch Shroud," and then he left. But they're hiding his channel, and they also took away his. If you can still find his channel, they took away his verified partner badge, which is one of the hardest.
It's hard.
It's one of the hardest verified like badges to get out of like any of the websites out there, out of like Twitter or Instagram, wherever. Twitch is one of the hardest ones to get. Yeah, and they took that away. It seems very much to me the jealous X kind of act, you know?
Right. To just basically say, screw you for
like you broke up with me, so now I'm tearing up all our photos.
Yeah. And
that's what it seems like to me.
And they did the same thing to Ninja. Well, they kind of did a little bit worse to Ninja. They were promoting other channels on his channel. You know, normally if somebody's live on their platform, like if you go to my channel right now, there's like you don't see other streamers unless I'm hosting this person, automatically hosting this person. On Ninja, they actually had like other streamers that were recommending, and somehow because somebody decided to stream pornography under that category, so they saw pornography under Ninja's channel.
Yeah, that was a big thing. We talked about that a while back when it happened.
So,
I don't know. Twitch has got to do something though, because they're losing a lot of people, and it hasn't just been to Mixer. I know Facebook has scooped up a lot of big names from Twitch. They grabbed Stone Mountain, Darkness, True Vanguard, a lot of partners they've grabbed too. And
yeah,
I won't be surprised if YouTube starts doing the same thing, and D Live even. I think this is kind of the way. This is all kind of like new territory. Streaming hasn't been around. You know, it's been around what 10 years now that it's really been kind of a solid thing. It's still kind of new territory though.
There's no blueprint to it. Well, there, you know, for a while, and now it's starting to get a blueprint that hey, we can actually, you know, get contracted and get a more stable income, because that's the problem, and that's one of the reasons why, in my opinion, why Shroud moved was because to sustain his audience, he was having to stream what 20, 10-hour streams, you know what I mean, 14-hour streams. And
yeah,
you know,
that's a lot of playtime.
And you know, and to be fair, coming from a streamer standpoint, you're not guaranteed any money.
Yeah.
Like you're not. You can stream
exactly.
like literally, you can stream 14 hours, and I'm speaking from like like a lower streamer, not from a Shroud level, but like from a a standard streamer. You can stream 14 hours and only make 22 cents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's totally up in the air, and it's depends the viewers you got in there, if the generous ones stop by or not.
It's so sorry, and so basically, Shroud was like, well, do I sit here and stream here forever and try to keep my numbers up, or do I go to somewhere where my income is stabled, where no matter how many hours I stream, I'm making this amount of money. Okay, done deal. So now platforms are starting to do this. Twitch started to do it, but they only did it with so far as I know, they did it with Nick Merckx as of right now. Nick Merckx. So
well, I know I won't go on too long about it, but because I believe we talked about it before, but I know Ninja and his wife, who acts as his manager, came out a while ago and talked a little bit more about it, and how it wasn't it wasn't a financial thing, at least for him. I don't know about Shroud and some of these other streamers, for their move over to Mixer, it was because of the restrictions that Twitch had put on them, specifically who they could advertise with, who and where he could show up, and do certain projects with. And it was kind of, they moved to Mixer because when Microsoft approached them, they said, "This is what we want to be able to do. This is what we want to, because we need to find other ways to make money outside of just streaming." Right. And he's done that. He's shown up on ESPN and talk shows and all that kind of stuff. But you got to find other ways to make money. And Twitch was restricting them on what they could and couldn't do. So
it's crazy to think about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm curious if, like these kind of big moves, if Twitch is going to readjust their restriction policies to kind of help, motivate people to actually stay with it.
I don't know. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm bad mouthing Twitch. I'm really not.
Sure.
I just want them to be better.
Tomorrow I get banned. No, just kidding.
I feel like Twitch has been stagnating for quite a while. I think since Amazon has, and I think they've been stagnating since shortly after Amazon acquired them. I think there's a couple things they're doing to make good progress. They've been talking about bringing multi-streaming and ad revenue for affiliates, but it is not a small streamer friendly platform in the slightest. I'm not talking about the people who stream every once in a while. I'm talking about people who actually like put time and effort in and who actually do have interesting personalities on camera, like people who could make a big, like it's not friendly to them. And they put in these like the affiliate, like I've never been a fan of it. I multi-stream, so like Twitch can ban me any second.
Yeah, I'd say technically you're
and I don't really care if they do that. There's only a couple of reasons why I keep Twitch, and it's for a couple of viewers that's where they like watching. But as part of their affiliate contract, which has a fairly low bar to get into, and you really don't gain that much out of it, except people can send you bits, you can get subscriptions. You're restricted to only streaming to their platform. And there's a few other things like that that are all about exclusivity. I've never been a big fan of exclusivity, whether it's for streaming or whether it's for video games or whatever. I'm not a fan of it. I vehemently despise it. And I think Twitch needs to change things like that. I think they seriously do.
In this, I agree, and this goes for all platforms though, except for YouTube. The one problem that all these streaming platforms have that YouTube doesn't have is a discoverability situation. Because right now, the only way to get discovered by other people is like, people like you're doing this podcast. It's more word of mouth based rather than with YouTube. You can go down an accidental rabbit hole and find a content creator that you actually like. You're like, whoa, I didn't even know this person existed. You know what I mean? And this person's cool, and you sub to him or whatever. And they right now, Twitch, Mixer, whatever, none of those have that. And so, it's crazy because, Twitch offered all these things to make people stay as far as some of the not the ad revenue, but there was this other thing that they were saying it's going to be like Mixer. It was like these little coin things. But what people didn't realize, they're supposed to be like Sparks, but people didn't realize you don't get no money for them. They're just a point system for your stream. So you're not using a third party bot. So I think they just need to be more, what's the word? More transparent, and they need to come up with better ideas, like you said. But the problem is they're offering there's a lot of confusion going around.
Well, I think Twitch has been riding on success for a lot of time, for a long time, and as history has shown us, companies get complacent when they do that. when
Right.
there's no real competition, I think we're on the verge of that changing. If you don't believe me, look at Xbox versus PlayStation, like
Right.
the last 2 decades of that. Perfect example was like going into the 360 PS3 generation. Sony got complacent and said people are going to buy our stuff no matter what. We're going to make it crazy expensive. We're going to put high quality parts in it, but it's going to be crazy expensive. Microsoft undercut them. Microsoft did way better for that generation, but then it immediately flipped around, right? Microsoft got complacent because of their success off the 360, and then Sony sold way better. And I think the same pattern applies to streaming platforms as well. I think you're seeing it. Twitch has been riding on this success for a long time, because for a long time it's been the best platform out there for streaming. Not just because it's the quote unquote best one, but because it was the original, Justin TV and all that. Like this was where you watched video games. This is where you watched streamers originally, and they didn't really have much competition for a long time. But I think they need to change that.
Definitely.
I hope they do, because I would like to see competition's great. There's always great perks for consumers, for viewers like us, when companies are at each other's throats.
Yeah,
and
it's why I stick around. It's because I'm like, okay, things are starting to get competitive. What's going to happen?
Yeah, and you know what? And Twitch may come out and completely surprise us, totally take us out of left field, because they are owned by Amazon, and Amazon is just about the most cutthroat company out there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying cutthroat in a negative way, but like they're
everywhere, dude.
They're on top of it with their business, and they're very good at undercutting other companies, and they're it's a very, very savvy business. So who knows? Maybe they'll take a second look at Twitch and say, all right, we need to dominate here.
They might acquire a new company. Who knows? They might buy D Life. Who knows? You know what I mean?
You never know what'll happen.
You never know.
All right. Well, we are nearing our hour. I think we're going to end up going over just by a few minutes. So we're going to get through our last couple segments really quick. I want to go over real quick some of the games that are be coming out this week, just so everybody will know. Brian, do you mind reading those out to us? What's coming out this week?
Yeah, sure. So all these titles are pretty much listed for October 29th, 3 days. So what is that going to be? Tuesday release date? You have After Party for PlayStation 4, the PC. You have Harvest Moon, Mad Dash, Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6. Both of those are coming out on Switch. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz HD.
Let's go.
It's kind of a mouthful, but all right. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. You have Vampire, if I'm not butchering that name, which is going to come out on Switch. And then Luigi's Mansion 3 coming out on Switch, and that's going to be on October 31st.
Nice.
All right.
Nothing super massive, but
yeah, a couple of them are popular titles. While Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to be a very popular one, I think.
Actually,
I'm a big fan of that series.
I watched videos on that. That actually looked like a lot of fun.
They are fun games. Harvest Moon always sells really well. Resident Evil 5 and 6, they've been doing Resident Evil remakes for how long? And now that they're coming over to Switch, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, there's some decent games coming out this week, though.
Yeah, definitely.
So next, let's move on to our roundtable question. I was kind of got me thinking of this just because of the Resident Evil games. I wanted to ask you guys if there's one game that you could pick, any sort of old title that you could have remastered for now. Which game would it be?
Well, that's easy. GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. This is all platforms, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Whatever game you really, really liked. What would you pick?
From a growing up standpoint, I would have to say, It's called Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero for PS2. I played that a lot as a kid. Basically, it's you're a street racer in Japan, and you basically drive around the map. Like there's you have a specific area that you're allowed to be in. It's basically all one. It's like a huge track, but it's in the city. And basically you just go around racing other street racers, beating them, unlocking modifications for your car, getting new cars, and then opening up other zones and like that kind of stuff. Wasn't incredibly, detailed, I guess you could say. It's pretty simplistic in the basic outlay of the game, but it was a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time on it.
Nice.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games that I feel like everybody has a couple where like there's games that you played as a kid that aren't great games, but you loved them just because that's one of the games that you had to play as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh man, for me there's so many things I would like to have remade. It's tough for me.
Yeah, I know.
To start.
Well, I thought of other ones as I was explaining it. So
yeah, I think for me, I would really like to see a solid remaster of the first Fable. I would be a big fan of that. It would make me really happy. And or probably the Fallout games 1 and 2. I would like to see updated graphics on those. Same story, same options.
No, I'm just kidding. Let's say without Bethesda.
Yeah, without Bethesda.
or
I mean, you'd keep all that, like the gameplay would all be the same and everything like that. But like, I would like to see new graphics on it. I think that would be kind of fun.
I know the feeling.
But
Dynasty Warriors 3 would be my second.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah,
those couple were pretty solid.
Loved those games. Spent a lot of time on them, and I would love to see them with like, remastered detail and all that kind of stuff. Because the fighting mechanics they're super simplistic, but they were so much fun.
Yeah, they were the good hit and smash or button smash, whatever you call it.
Hack and slash.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the best. Yep.
Alrighty. Well, moving on to our last segment for the podcast, we're going to go into our rapid fire questions. These are all for you, Handikillcam. I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, and you are going to have to answer as quickly as possible. If you answer one wrong, we're going to banish you to the island from Lost. Are you ready?
Yeah. Good luck.
All right, here we go. Would you rather be trapped in an elevator full of men with BO or 3 soaked dogs?
3 soaked dogs.
Would you rather look like a potato or feel like a potato?
Feel like a potato.
What's something you've tried that you will never ever try again?
A dog biscuit.
What is the best on-screen bromance?
Power.
Describe your life using one word.
2 wheels. Wheels.
What movie has made you cry?
I don't know. Let's say 8 Mile. Let's just be stupid.
Ears or mouth?
Mouth.
Your favorite sound? Favorite gaming peripheral brand?
Sony.
And if you could wedgie a historical figure, who would it be?
Charlie Sheen.
All right, man. I think you did fairly well. We're going to give you 70% out of a golden star. So good job.
Cool. I passed.
That is going to be it for our podcast this week. This has been episode 21 of the Just Face It podcast. Handikillcam, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah. Make sure to come check out my channel at twitch.tv/Handikillcam. Along on Thursdays, make sure to go to twitch.tv/Able Gamers, where I do charity work every Thursday. Also do my own podcast on Wednesdays called the OG Podcast. You can find it on all podcast platforms. Mainly we stream it on Twitch on Wednesdays, but if you miss it, you can catch us on all platforms. And I stream every 5 days a week from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And there you go.
Awesome. Go check him out, guys. His link is in the description. Brian, I know you're not a streamer, but is there anything you want to say to everyone?
Nope. Thank you for having me.
Nope, I'm done with you guys. All right, and I'm Jace. I go by the Mocking Jace TV by pretty much every single platform out there. This has just been the Just Face It podcast. Normally we've been streaming every Sundays. Today we've started moving over to Saturdays. So if you want to come catch out the live stream, you can check us out on Facebook and YouTube at 4 p.m. Pacific. If you guys have any questions, comments, or any suggestions on who you would like to see on as a guest on the show, feel free to reach out to us at justfaceitpodcast@gmail, message us over Facebook or Twitter, where we go by Just Face It Podcast, and we'll get back to you really, really quick. But that's it for us. We will see you guys next week. Bye.